So whether you're a surfer, free diver, scuba diver, we all know the annoyance of having the suit accidentally tear. Sometimes they're large tears like this. Other times they might just be little tiny nicks and scratches that can happen with brushing up against rocks, or maybe your toenail grabs a hold of something. This Yazbeck 7mm is pretty tough, and you would have to really work like crazy to actually make it tear. So we used a razor blade just to create this, so that we could show you how to repair the wetsuit. So to do your wetsuit repair, you're going to need the following items. We're using a skewer stick here. It's basically something to apply the glue with. It could be a toothpick, a playing card, a stiff piece of cardboard. You need a napkin, and optionally you need something to create some weight. We'll go over that in a moment. A heavy book, or a diver's weight, or in this case we got a zinc. And then last and certainly the most important is the Yazbeck Neoprene Repair Glue. So before you even think about taking out the glue, make sure that you rinse your wetsuit off really good. Get all the salt water, the sand, the debris off of there. And the most important thing of all, make sure that it is dry, dry, dry before you start this glue up. Also, we think it's important to remind you to work in a well-ventilated area. So the reason we're showing two different types of tears is that, sometimes you get a big ol' ugly tear, but we want to emphasize the importance of, just as a part of your everyday maintenance, you want to check over your suit when you turn it inside out and rinse it. Check for little tiny things like this, because if you can repair it when it's like this, you'll prevent the big things like this. So it's it's just like an ounce of prevention kind of a concept. Also, be careful not to touch these glue up surfaces with your hands too much, because the oils from your fingertips could mix with the glue and cause the glue not to stick very well. So when you're preparing a smaller nick such as this, you have to put pressure on both sides in order to keep both of these surfaces apart. Because what's going to happen is you're going to put one layer of glue, let that dry 5 minutes, and then you're going to put a second layer of glue over it. And you don't want it to accidentally go back together prematurely, otherwise you're going to cheat yourself there. So the reason for the weight is that, one way we found to keep it is if you just put the weight on top of there, it just sort of does the work for you, so that you don't have to stand there and hold it by hand for 5 minutes. It's not the end of the world. You don't need this. It's not mandatory, but it's just a convenience thing. So you're going to begin by removing the cap, and when it's brand new, there will be a silver seal here, and it's a standard tube opening. You just take the pointy end of the cap and puncture it. So that's standard. And you want to use a very thin layer of glue, just a very thin layer. And you want to apply it to both surfaces. On this kind of repair, it's kind of interesting because the surfaces aren't really completely separate. But you just want to make sure that you completely cover each face to be glued. Whoop, a little too much there. Cover each face to be glued, but you don't want to. You definitely want to be. You don't want to glob it on. You don't want it to be, ridiculously piled all over the place, because all you really gain out of that is just a messy glue up. So we just want to cover this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to wait 5 minutes for layer number 1 to dry. So here we are now doing the second layer of glue, and again, you just want to think about putting just the right amount, just enough glue. You don't want to use very much excess, because all you're going to do is actually work against yourself. The more excess glue you put in there, you're actually weakening your bond, and you're also, if the glue were to, if you put so much excess glue that it starts piling up on here on the titanium, then you're going to end up with that scar tissue like we talked about, where you're going to end up with a hard surface here that could irritate your body. So just try to keep the glue committed to the glue surface, and don't let it cheat up onto the around the corner, so to speak. So when enough time has lapsed, 7 minutes after the second layer, you're going to carefully bring your glue up surfaces in contact with each other, and the pressure you want to exert is such that you're encouraging the surfaces, the glue surfaces, to go together. So you're pinching this way, you're not pinching into the thickness of the neoprene. You don't want to compress the neoprene because it may stay that way. You're just wanting the glue surfaces to come into contact with each other. And we sort of feel like it would be a good idea to leave, once you feel like your glue up is finished, we think it's a good idea to leave the suit for, let it sit around for 10 or 20 minutes. I mean, you probably only need about a minute, but there's not really a big payoff for you to start yanking on your wetsuit just to see if it worked, right? So give it plenty of time to cure. But we are going to show you, for the sake of this video, we're going to try to show you how quickly it can cure, or how quickly it at least it will be for. So if you were in a pinch, like say if you're out in the, well, you couldn't really do this at a dive site because you need to get the wetsuit clean and dry. So anyway, we're going to show you here in just a moment that it's going to hold really good, even though we're not waiting hardly any time at all. The other thing you want to do is use your you want to work out any little air bubbles that might be trapped in there. So that's basically it right there. So what do you think, guys? Can I pull on it? Should I pull on it? So I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on here, and you can see that there's just a little tiny surface. And if you really wanted to be anal about it, you could re-glue these little, but I will never bother. I mean, to me, that suit is completely repaired, and it is never coming back apart there. That's it. So after almost no time at all, this should be pretty much ready to go. So I can put my fingers in here. I mean, I can try to pull this apart, and you can see there's just a little teeny, just almost like a surface fracture there. But I mean, this is really, this thing is back together. I'm pulling this pretty darn hard, and it's just not going. It's not coming apart. It's been repaired. You're fine, just like that. So when you want to really improve your skills, after you learn how to glue up a 7 mil, you can try a thinner suit. This is somewhere around maybe around a 2 mil. So we just basically cut this Farmer John's shoulder strap. We just cut it in two, so to stop it from inadvertently gluing onto the other half of the strap, we're just putting something in the middle here. So we're doing the same thing though. Basically just wanting to bring these surfaces together very purposefully, and you want your pinching to be in a way that you're not pinching this way, but you're just bringing the glue surfaces together. Working out the air bubbles, and because we were careful not to put an extra inordinate amount of glue, we were careful. We didn't go crazy with it. We got maybe a little tiny bit extra here, but it's still, we're in good shape here. I'm going to try to encourage these air bubbles to come out. we'll just leave that for a minute or two and should be in pretty good shape there. So it might be worth taking note here that this again is an example of an extreme tear, meaning that we completely severed the fabric. However, this is it. So this is never going to be as strong as as the original. However, we are dealing with a very thin 2 mil swatch of rubber here, and you can see how effective this is. So this is just an amazing product, and we just love it. So that's the Yazbeck Neoprene Repair Glue. So thanks for watching. We hope that this has been helpful to you. Please go to yazbeck.com for more information. Please like and subscribe, and we welcome your comments below.